standing here in Henricus Historical Park's recreated Powhatan village of Arrowhattack. Now, the people who lived in this village were just like me and you. There were children, moms, dads, grandmas, aunts and uncles, and everybody in those families had jobs to do. And one very important job was agriculture. That's planting or growing crops, foods that the people would eat. You can see our garden patch behind me right now. Now, the people who were taking care of the garden were usually the women, so the moms, and sometimes the children or very elderly people would help too. So think to yourself, have you ever taken care of a garden before? What kinds of things do you have to do to take care of a plant? Well, you'd have to water it, plant seeds, you'd have to pull all the weeds up, and here in Virginia there's a lot of weeds, so that's hard work every day. And finally, when the plants are ready, you have to pick or harvest them so you can eat them later. And that's a lot of hard work, but it was worth it because these plants would feed these families for months and months. Now, the people here were growing 3 very important plants that they called the 3 sisters. Now, you might have siblings of your own, and think about sisters or siblings. They protect each other and help each other grow and thrive, and that's kind of like what these plants were doing for each other. They would work together to help each other grow. Now, the first plant was corn. Corn stretches way up tall to the sun, growing really long on these very strong corn stalks. Another plant was beans. Beans were planted right in the same hole with the corn, and beans grow on vines. These vines need something to wrap around to help them have support to grow, and the beans would wrap their vines around the corn stalk to get that support. And then the third plant that they would grow was squash. Squash grows really low to the ground, and they have these big leaves, sometimes bigger than your hand. And these leaves would spread out all around the dirt, and they would provide shade to keep the roots of the corn and the squash and the beans nice and shady so that they didn't dry out in that hot summer sun. And then once the plants were ready in the late summer or the fall, the families would pick them and harvest them and have food to eat for the next several months.